Spotlight, heard each week on CTN, nationwide televisions, satellite, dish. We're also on YouTube and Rumble every week, more than once a week. Actually, about 4 times now. I've got my radio program. We call it our update, 15 minutes. We've got our 28.5-minute TV show that's also on YouTube and Rumble. But now we've got these live streams. I'm doing about 2 a week of these. And all right, we got something important for you tonight. Let me see if I can tilt that just a little more. There we go. All right, so the crowd's getting on. Let's give it a minute here. I've got something I'm going to read for you in a minute, and let me get him stopped. I got a 2-minute clip that I've got to play for you. That's all there is to it. You've got to hear this. It's crazy. So folks are getting on, and greetings, everybody. Facebook's got you beat by 1 so far, and says 2 links. I don't know what 2 links are. Well, I did post a link for my website on there. That may be what that is. I don't know. Sean Martinez, St. Louis, is here. All right. The crowd is starting to grow now. Hey, do yourself, share this thing. Get this shared on your page. Hit the like button. Let's get some people over here. Let's see. Okay. Is Brother Spencer? Is he got a show on at the same time as me? Is he got a show on right now? Because I hate to steal all his audience, but all right. Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Do they exist? I want to read a couple of verses. We got to get the Bible in this, folks. We got to get the Bible in this thing somehow. Let's get the Bible out. Okay, YouTube's got Facebook doubled right now. All right, let me start with 2 Timothy. Let's start with that. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 4 says this, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto, anybody know what that next word is? Let me read it again. Somebody guess. Somebody put it in your comment. 2 Timothy 4:4. They shall turn away their ears from the truth and shall be turned unto what? Unto what? Anybody got it? Anybody got? There you go. Van's got it. Fables. Fables. That's right. Fables. That's what we're going to look at tonight. We're going to look at some fables tonight. And I'm actually going to take my headset off and play an audio clip for you. That's on my page. You can see it. Just scroll down. If you're on Facebook, it's down 1 or 2 there. You can watch the video. I'm only going to give you tonight because I got too many things running. I got my iPad here for Facebook. I got the iPhone up here for YouTube. I've got the computer up over here to play the clip. There's no way that I can get video of this, but you don't need the video anyway. They shall turn their ears away from the truth and shall be turned unto fables. Fables, fairy tales, things that are not true. We ought not be chasing fables. We've got a Bible, and that Bible gives us what we need. And prophecy, all prophecy is in the Bible. Don't believe anything outside the Bible. When somebody says, God told me this or God gave me this, don't fall for that. All right, here's another one for you. 1 Timothy 6, verse 20. 1 Timothy 6:20 says this, O Timothy, keep that which is committed to thy trust, avoiding profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so called. See, what is science falsely so called? It's science that's not really science. It's science that's based on myth or miscalculation or guesses, conspiracy. Don't get into that. Don't get caught away with that. Okay. I got another one here. Note the root word of the word mythology. You've heard of mythology, Greek mythology. A lot of our prophecy people are right in the middle of Greek mythology. They really are. They're talking about Thor, the Marvel movie guys, Thor and all them guys. Even Merlin the magician. I heard Steve Quayle himself on Gary Stearman's show look right at Gary Stearman and say, you know that Merlin the magician was a Nephilim, right? Looked right at Gary Stearman. Now, he didn't answer him. He kind of looked down. So I don't know what Gary believed, but Gary gives a platform to that guy all the time. Gives a platform to Steve Quayle, and it's sad. It's too bad. These guys are sci-fi guys. They're fairy tale guys. Okay. Note the root word of the word mythology is what? Myth. You know what mythology is? It's based on a myth. It's not true. Okay, so all right, let's get into this. The other day, let's see, I'm not sure when this was posted, but I think this was posted a month ago. But I just saw it yesterday, and I shared it on my page here. I couldn't help it. For the last 2 weeks, at least, we have been talking, and I think I did a show on the gap theory as well. And then we did 2 shows on the sons of God in Genesis 6 and all that. I think one of them was called 15 reasons why, blah, blah, blah. And then last week, or the last show was about who are the sons of God. We did a show about that. I showed you every instance, all 11 instances of the word sons, the phrase sons of God in the King James Bible. And we discussed that all 10 of them, except for one, is talking about the saints, the redeemed. One of them in Job 38 is talking about, it's used in metaphor, poetic metaphor. And it's not talking about angels at all, it's talking about the lights in the sky, sun, moon, stars. And that's all in this book right here. There's a whole chapter on that. And the great end time distraction, that's what it is, by the way. So another distraction has come up, and remember, you hear me say all the time, a wrong understanding in Genesis 6 leads to a lot of problems later on in the Bible. Okay, Book of Jude, Book of Second Peter, other places, and so I'm going to play you a clip. It's 2 minutes. You're not going to want to miss this. Should have got you some popcorn and something to drink, and non-alcoholic, and gather the family around and listen to this, and tell me this isn't teenagers sitting around a campfire or something. It's not. But tell me this isn't something from your childhood, sitting around the campfire telling ghost stories. Many of us did that. I remember that. I remember that as a teenager. I didn't know God. I didn't. I had no clue, and I remember we we believed in some of this stuff when we were teenagers. And some of you need to grow up. Some of you need to become men. Some of you need to become women, and stop running after fairy tales, sci-fi, fables, Greek mythology, and it's time to get back to the Bible here. All right, so I'm going to take my headset off, and I'm going to put it a little closer to the computer. Are you ready? I want to play this. It's 2 minutes long. It's a clip by L.A. Marzulli. Now, a lot of you have at least heard his name. Some of you watch him. Some of you have seen him on Proxy Watchers, or what's the other one? Tom Horn's network. He just died recently, but that network and others. Many people are familiar with L.A. Marzulli. I have never met him. We had a little discourse on YouTube one time. I shared it in the book. It's in there, word for word. He confronted me on something that I had said about Genesis 3:15, and I began correcting him for about 3 pages of things. And I put that all in this book right here, word for word. I didn't change anything, typos and everything. Left them there just so that it'd be fair and be honest. By the way, L.A. Marzulli is not my enemy. I don't hate him. I think he's wrong in a lot of areas. Did you know a few years ago I was at a prophecy conference I was speaking at in Colorado, Colorado Springs, the big hotel there. And I remember everyone was talking about this new book and this new thing. And they said, Brother Good, have you heard about this? L.A. Marzulli speaking on it in a couple of weeks here at a different conference. And he says that he's got a skeleton and they believe it's a Nephilim. And they believe they've got one. And I looked right, I don't remember who told me, but I looked right at him. I said, that's a scam. I didn't have to think about it. I knew it's a scam. Listen, angels don't have skeletons. Come on. Come on, open your eyes. Open your mind. Get you a Bible. What does Ephesians 6 say? We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers. And listen, angels they don't die. You don't find their body laying on the side of the road. Who's teaching this stuff? This is fantasy. And he taught that, wrote a little booklet, and a bunch of people came to that conference. And a few months later, he had to admit that he had been scammed. He should have called Dan Goodwin or Dr. Hilton, but we'd have helped him with that. I could have helped him with that in 5 minutes. But all them people went to that conference, they got that book, and he had to tell them all, I got scammed. This is not a fallen angel. Well, you got to be kidding me. Of course it wasn't a fallen angel. Of course it wasn't. You don't see that. By the way, you get your King James Bible and you start in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. You go all the way to Revelation chapter 22. You find me one place where fallen angels appeared in human form to human beings. Hey, I'll wait. No, I won't wait because it will be too long. I'll tell you right now, it's not there. You will not find anywhere in the Bible where fallen angels appeared in human form to anybody. Now I realize today they're appearing to a lot of the people in these prophecy world, but I don't believe half of it. In fact, I'm not sure I believe any of it. And I could name some other names, some things that happened recently. One lady claims that her husband came to bed, but it wasn't him; it was a fallen angel. Folks, do you believe that? I'm not saying she doesn't believe it because I think she probably does believe it. But is that what happened? I do not believe that for a minute. Not for a minute. See, you have to be mixed up in your head in Genesis 6 and other places to fall for this stuff. All right, I should have left my headset on because I'm obviously still talking, right? I've got my headset here because this is my microphone. Can everybody hear me okay? I hope. I usually have this on my ear. I'm going to stick it over here. I want to make sure you hear this. I've got a 2-minute clip that I'm going to play from L.A. Marzulli. I'm going to try to shut up and not say anything. I want you to hear it. And then we'll talk about it just for a few minutes when we get done. I'm not mad at him. He's not my enemy. I just think it needs to be talked. It's out on the public airways for thousands of people to see. It's got to be talked about. We've got to get people to quit following after this junk. All right, so are you ready? Everybody ready? Hey, Facebook's got YouTube beat now by a few people here. So YouTube, you better catch up. All right, so here we go. I'm going to set my microphone closer, and I'm going to get this going. So here we go. Let me get the mute button off. All right, it's all the way up. Here we go. Are you ready? Listen to this now. Hey folks, L.A. Marzulli here. We just got back from the conference in Texas. It was really great. We spent a couple of days with our good friends Mike Hamilton and Darlene Hamilton on their ranch. It's amazing. But I want to talk to you about something. I had a report that came over my desk a while ago. So this woman is up in Canada, and she's got a huge acreage deal, and she borders right up against the Canadian National Forest.
And it's a spring day, and she goes out and she looks over the field, and her nearest neighbor is like a mile away, and her neighbor's out there hanging clothes. Well, about 50 yards from her, all of a sudden, right in front of her, a Sasquatch materializes. He's crouched down behind a bush, so the neighbor across the field can't see him, but that wouldn't happen anyway. And he doesn't realize that he's being watched. And what's amazing about this is, in my opinion, the Squatch jumps through space-time as we know it because he just materializes. The woman was immediately taken aback. She, couldn't even believe what she was looking at, and terrified. And the Squatch sat there looking at this woman across the field for a few minutes and then popped out, just materialized. Here's what we know. And I get this from Ron Moorhead. We actually covered this in an interview. So Ron Moorhead, Sierra Fells, is up in the Sierras, and he finds a 28-inch footprint, a set of 28 inches, 28-inch footprints. And they continue, he follows these things for a while. All of a sudden, they just disappear. Folks, these entities can not only manipulate space-time as we know it, in my opinion, but they also can materialize and dematerialize. Thanks for watching.
Holy cow. All right. What do y'all think of that? I wrote a couple of notes here while you were listening. The first thing he says, this is a report he got. L.A. Marzulli didn't see this. He did not see this. He got it either second or third hand from somebody else. He either got it second hand. I'm not sure. I don't think he got it from that lady. So he got this third or fourth hand as it got passed around. Are you listening? Hey, if you ever heard stories that get passed around, after a while, everything, when you get to the end of the line, is completely distorted. So it's a report that he heard. And supposedly 50 yards away. Now, this is a lady out there in a field. Or maybe it was her backyard. I don't know. Don't matter. She's guessing at how far it was. 50 yards is half a football field. I don't know how old this lady is. I don't know what her vision is like. I don't know her knowledge of animals in the kingdom out there. She claims she saw something, and then all of a sudden it's gone or it reappeared. I wrote this down. Have you ever gone hunting? Any hunters out there? Anybody ever gone deer hunting? Maybe bear hunting or rabbit hunting, coon, whatever. Have you ever thought you saw something, but you didn't? Have you ever seen a glimpse of something and then all of a sudden it's gone and you can't find, well, what was it? I don't know. It could have been just about anything. You ever been sitting next to a tree or behind a blind or up in a tree and you heard what you were sure was a deer coming through the woods? I mean, you hunters know what I'm talking about. Only to find out it's a squirrel running through the leaves. I don't know how many times I've had a gun ready, waiting for a deer to pop out, only to see a stupid squirrel making a whole bunch of noise. Sometimes the deer make less noise than a squirrel. Funny, isn't it? But your eyes can play tricks on you. And they do play tricks on you. And you oftentimes will think you saw something. The guy next to you thinks he saw something else, or he didn't see it, or you can be tricked. Your mind can be tricked. He mentioned on there that these things manipulate. No, eyewitnesses manipulate things. And second and third and fourth hand eyewitnesses, well, they're not eyewitnesses. A second, third, or fourth hand testimony about what somebody, 4 or 5 people down the lane say they saw. That can be manipulated, and it is manipulated. Now, let me tell you something. This is crazy. He jumped to conclusions right away. He says that was a Sasquatch or a Bigfoot. It's just another name for Bigfoot. And Sasquatch. Sasquatch sounds better, doesn't it? And somebody measured them footprints. How long after those footprints were made were they measured? That's a good question. You ever been out in the snow? You ever grow up out in where there's a lot of snow every year? And you may walk out behind your barn or something, and a week later you go back out there, and your footprints have grown because of the melting and the distorting of the snow. It makes footprints bigger. That's one answer. Um, he goes on to say that those footprints, all of a sudden, they were gone. Really, and he's sure of it. He says this is a being from another world, and it can come in and out. He said that right at the beginning. They can come in and out of our universe here, this dimension. In other words, they're from another dimension. They can step in and out. So this thing got seen by this woman, and it ran, and then it disappeared. For whatever reason. I can hear him say, "Oh my goodness, I've been seen! I've been seen! Hide, hide!" And he flips the switch, and boom, he's gone. Beam me up, Scotty. This is nothing but pure sci-fi fairy tale. There is not a bit of truth to any of this. Now, what did the lady see? Did the lady see anything? Is there a lady? Who spread this story? Who's the lady? Who's the woman that saw? What did she really see? How old is she? What's her vision like? What did she see? It could have been a dog. It could have been a coyote. It could have been anything. We're asked to believe these second, third hand silly stories. And people preach this like it's the truth. We've got to wake up. We got to get back to the scriptures. Now, God bless L.A. Marzulli. He means well, but the guy is filled with this stuff. He's got skulls. He thinks he's got all kinds of crazy ideas. He's got pictures. He's got people that have told him stuff, and he's got everything but a King James Bible. That's what he doesn't have. And yeah, so what do you think of this, folks? What do you think of this? Do you believe it? Do you believe there's a Sasquatch out there? Do you believe Sasquatch or Bigfoot is out there roaming around, maybe in your neighborhood, maybe in your backyard? What's he doing there? What is it? What is it? Hey, what does he eat? Where does he sleep? With all the hunters trashing through the woods, how does he not get pushed out of his? Oh, I know. He turns invisible. See, I never heard that when I was a young man. I remember Bigfoot when I was a teenager. Everybody was talking about it, and there was movies about it, and everybody was talking. Back then, nobody talked about him going invisible. He just lived in the woods, and every now and then somebody got a glimpse of him. Somebody took a picture of him. Always blurry, by the way. just like your UFO videos, always blurry. You can't do nothing with it. And if it was focused in, you'd see made in China in the fine print on it. And so but now in our generation, see how it's changed? Now he can jump into another dimension. Just shoom. All right. So what is it? Are you LA? What is it? Are you telling us this is some kind of demonic spirit, a fallen angel, a Nephilim? What is it? What's its purpose? What's it doing? What's this all about? He never said any of that, did he? He just dangled something out there to make everyone go, "Oh my good." Hey, read the comments, because most of the people commenting are his crowd, and they'll give them some of their stories. They're giving their opinion. They're oh my goodness, that's a wow. Very few people, and maybe he deletes them. I don't know. Very few people say that's a bunch of hogwash, and he dangles that out there. No proof. It's not even he didn't see it. He didn't see it, and I'm not sure the person that told him saw it. I bet you someone who knows the woman She told him, he told someone else, he told someone, and finally it got to him. And he tells it almost like he was there, but he wasn't. And it probably doesn't even know who the woman is. I don't know. You know, she may not exist. You know, why do we fall for this stuff? It's human nature, isn't it? It's our fallen nature that wants to grab this stuff. Your nature wants to believe that Star Trek could be real. Your nature wants to tell you that Star Wars might have some truth to it. It's exciting. It's exciting stuff, but it's not biblical. No, it's fables. Oppositions of science, falsely so called, don't fall for this stuff. You see what I'm saying? It starts with a wrong understanding in Genesis 6. Of course, really starts in Genesis 1 with the gap theory that doesn't exist, that they say exists. Millions of years, some of them say, and there were people. Some people say them people had no soul. They make up stuff. There's no Bible for any of that. They just make it up. Poof! It just appears out of their mouth like that Sasquatch did in that woman's field. All of a sudden he was there and then he was gone. That's how they build their doctrine. They just. I heard a guy on Gary Stearman's show. I don't know if Gary asked him what happened to if the flood killed them all, then why do we still have them? Oh, somebody on the ark must have been infected. Where did he get that? Did he get that out of the Bible? No. Where did he get it? Poof! It just appeared, like that Sasquatch appeared. They have to come up with stuff to fill in the puzzle pieces and fill in the blanks and make it come out right. Not biblical. None of it's biblical. Wow. Do you see what's happening? The great end time distraction, Nephilim, gap theory, the return of the Nephilim. Change the story about Noah. Noah wasn't about being righteous. He was saved. His family was spared because they were not infected with the DNA of Satan. It changed the whole Bible story. All them Sunday school lessons you heard when you was a little kid in Sunday school about Noah's Ark being saved by grace and because he was a believer, God spared him and the 8 people, all 8 of them on the ark. None of that's true anymore. These guys, poof, they suddenly came up with a new doctrine, poof, because they needed it to fit their narrative. It's a lie. Noah was found righteous. He was righteous in the eyes of God. He was a believer. He was a believer in the Messiah. That's why he was spared. He was righteous, had God's righteousness. Not that he didn't have the bloodline of Satan. What a lie. What a made up fable. That's what this stuff is. Doc and I on our program try to bring you old fashioned Bible prophecy like your grandfather used to hear. Now, we do talk about some stuff that some people have not talked about before. Very few people had an understanding of the 7 feasts in Leviticus 23. Very few people have an understanding, or did anyway, of the Jubilee and what it all means. And so we've got some better understanding on some things, but it's biblical stuff, not fairy tale stuff. There's nothing in the Bible about Sasquatch or Bigfoot. Nothing. Nothing. In fact, it's the opposite. Nowhere in the Bible did anybody ever see a fallen angel appearing as a man, walking or standing in front of them. Now, a lot of people claim to have seen ghosts and all that stupid stuff, but nobody's ever. And you should believe very little of the ghost stories the people try to run down you too. And yeah, it's human nature. It's inbred in us. This stuff excites us. We want to run after it. It's Hollywood. Hollywood grabs this stuff. UFOs. Now UFOs abducting human women, impregnating them, dropping them back off at their house, picking them up 6 or 7 months later, stealing the fetus from her body. I don't know what he does after that, if he just throws her away or what. I don't know. They don't know either. What a bunch of nonsense. What a bunch of nonsense. By the way, that's Chuck Missler in his book way back in the 90s. He's the one that wrote that, what I just said to you. about the UFOs picking up human women. I don't know where he got it. I suspect he got it second, third, or fourth hand from somebody else. And everyone's got their stories. I know it. Oh, Brother Good, you understand? My brother told me what he saw one night. Everybody's seen something. Everybody has seen something you can't explain. Everybody has experienced something out in the night and something spooky, something you can't explain. That doesn't mean it was something. That doesn't mean that there's some creature from the Black Lagoon, out there in your field, or some demon was out there. Doesn't mean that at all. Your eyes can trick you. Go hunting sometime and see how many times you see something you're sure it's a deer and it's not. Go ahead. You'll prove my point here. All right. Okay. Well, I hate to do it, but it had to be done. Rewind this or go to the Facebook page if you want. If you're on YouTube, you want to watch the actual video with LA in his car talking. It's 2 minutes long. You can watch it and you can see him say it. And so anyway, God bless y'all. And don't forget, we're still looking for an RV to sit out here to move my studio into it. We'd like to do love to do a daily show out there. We need an RV. It can be a pull behind. It can be a Class C motorhome. It can be a Class A motorhome. If anybody's got something you're not using, you'd like to donate it to Crossing the Spotlight, get a hold of us. We'd love to talk to you. If you don't have one, but you want to be involved in that and you've got some money laying around you'd like to put towards this, get a hold of me and I'll tell you how to get that money to us so that it'll be in the right account for that. All right. God bless everybody. And we'll be heading to the studio here in just a couple of days. Doc is still not 100%, but he's doing okay. We'll have him back. We had a guest this past Friday, and I have Dr. Hildebild's son is in the studio. The show that's coming up this week. I know you'll enjoy that. And then Doc will be back with us. We're going to be doing some shows with Doc. Well, let me go ahead and tell you something that we're thinking of doing. I haven't decided yet, but I think we're going to do a show about the eclipse coming up on April the 8th, which is the first of Nisan in Israel. Interesting. Passover month. So there's a lot of stuff about that out there. Every day somebody sends me something. Brother Good, have you seen this? And I haven't watched them all, but I've known about this for 7 or 8 years now. I remember the first one in 2017. See, this is the second one. And it's forming an X across America. And where the X meets in the middle is 45 minutes from my studio in Illinois, the Crossing the Spotlight studio. Carbondale area, Little Egypt, they call that area. And that's where the X is, where the two lines of the eclipse come together 7 years apart. I'm sure you've seen it on Facebook, those of you that are watching. You've seen this somewhere. So I knew about this 7 years ago. I don't know everything about it. There's a lot of new things people have come up with. My problem is I got to come up with a way to share this information without going crazy and trying to make a demand that it means this or it means that, because it's outside the Bible and you got to be careful. It may not mean that at all, but there are some interesting things about it. So we're going to try to do a show on it. We also got a show coming up that Doc and I are going to do about Matthew 24. We're going to try to help everybody with Matthew 24, the most misunderstood, misquoted passage of the Bible as it deals with prophecy and the rapture. The people who are mixed up about the rapture and the timing of the rapture, 90% of them have a skewed view of Matthew 24. They just don't understand some things, some important things. And we're going to help you with that. All right. Until next time, watch out for those Sasquatches. Don't get caught out there without a gun. Careful you don't step on their sleeping bag and and keep your eyes on them skies.